the problem, Labourn. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent, making his way to the blue corner, from Watford, Anees Braveheart Taj! Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on Fight Zone, where Fight Academy proudly presents 6 rounds of boxing in the Cruiserweight division. Our timekeeper at the bell for this contest is Chris Hancock, and our referee in charge, scoring the action, star referee Michael Alexander. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our officials. It is now time to introduce our boxers. Introducing first, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the white shorts with black trim. On the scales, he weighed in 210 pounds and 8 ounces. This evening taking part, 18th contest, as a professional from Bradford, Ryan, the problem, Labourn. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent, facing him across the ring and boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the yellow and blue shorts. On the scales, he weighed in 215 pounds and 14 ounces. He comes to the ring with a record of 7 wins and 5 losses. He has 5 big wins by way of knockout. From Watford, Anees Braveheart Taj!
Sixth round of this one. Anees Taj, interestingly, has a law degree. Intends to go back to the legal profession after he's finished with boxing. And tells us that his background, his dad is a 2nd generation British Pakistani, his mum's Scottish. Hence maybe the nickname Braveheart.
Absolutely, and those the interesting gladiator style kit as well. A bit of a nod to Scotland as well, with a bit of tartan on there. Again, been in with some decent opposition as well, Taj, including Fidel Riley, so interesting to see him in action.
Labourn, 34 years old now, yet to pick up a win as a professional. Ring nicknamed the problem. Problem principally that he causes, maybe for Anees Taj, is that he leads off with that right hand. He's a southpaw. Mate of Dave Allen, coming from Bradford, and Dave's actually in the corner.
Wearing Crocs, might I add. I'm not going to let him get away with that. He's just justified it, but there's no justification. This is good work though from Taj in this opening round.
Lad who drinks in my local never wears anything other than Crocs. He's a big bloke as well. I'll be careful with that one. Maybe not quite as big as Dave Allen.
Yeah. Interesting contest, this one as well, because of course with cruiserweights it can they pack a punch, don't they? So one shot can change everything, and you're always sort of watching, just sort of on the edge of your seat in a way, because you just know it can change at any moment. Really quite fluid, these two though, John, and seen Labourn in action live before. I've not seen Taj live before, just on the TV, of course, but sometimes at Cruiser they can be a little bit plodding and slow, but these two are fairly fleet-footed, really, and good movement. I'm enjoying this opening round. Really competitive too, and engaging.
Into the final 30 seconds. Labourn's been stopped on 5 occasions. Taj has been stopped twice. Both of them showing themselves difficult to pin down in this opening round.
I think it's been really entertaining, this opening round. It's certainly not been boring, as it's not been sort of one-sided or just a feeling out round. They've both, when they've seen an opportunity, tried to land a big shot. As you say, nothing really flush just yet. This shows promise of being a really exciting one.
Ref Michael Alexander didn't have an awful lot to do there either. It was a clean sort of 3 minutes. Here's some of the action from that opener. Taj, I think, perhaps just getting the better of the work, but not a lot between them.
Yeah, no, I would have given that to Taj. I think it was a really good opening round for both of them, though, but I think he edged it with the cleaner work, more decisive shots. Just a tiny swelling developing under the right eye of Labourn. Just getting some work on that in the corner.
Round 2.
Hopefully won't become too much of a problem for the problem.
No, you don't want that, do you? 6th round of this at Cruiserweight, into the 2nd. Orthodox versus Southpaw on occasion can produce absolute stinkers. So far, this one's not been one of those.
Absolutely not. And when you look at it on paper, in this weight division, as you say, Orthodox against Southpaw, you could think we're in for a little bit of a ball fest, but this has been the complete opposite of that. And plenty for the fans to enjoy so far, and enough jeopardy in it, I think, that you do feel like either of them could land that decisive shot if they can find an opening and get the timing right for it.
As ever at these fight zone cards, fans, many of them, sitting around tables and enjoying their snacks and drinks while they watch the boxing.
Each to their own, but
You don't fancy cheesy chips while you're commentating?
I used to hate it when I fought, John, to be honest, whether it was in the amateurs on a dinner show or the pros. I fought on a couple of them as a pro, and I just found it so odd that you'd be in there fighting with somebody and someone was enjoying a bit of cheesecake or something. I just always found it a really odd, and to not have people really absorbed in it, sort of shouting at the top of the lungs ringside, but instead enjoying,
bellowing, this cheesecake's delicious.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the same feel, John. It really doesn't. So yeah, I've never been in favour of it, but having said that, bon appetit. Hope everyone's enjoying the food that we're not eating.
Sounding like Roy Keane there for a moment, dismissing the high flyers.
It's a savvy performance, this, from Labourn, because and you can see really why he's called the problem, because he is really difficult to pin down, John. He's constantly on the move, feet are constantly moving, his head's constantly coming off the central line, so it does make it quite difficult for Taj to really set anything up.
And Taj needs to get back to winning ways, doesn't he? Having been beaten in his last 3 outings needs to show a little bit more here tonight. He wants to get another W in the results column. 7 wins against 5 defeats in his career. Very much wants to have another victory as they move into the last 10 seconds of this second round.
And one of the key factors, I would imagine, for him is that those losses have come on a big stage against, you know, like I say, an unbeaten prospect. With people have got big plans for him, big expectations for Vidal Riley. They've both been stoppages, the first one on a cut and the second one they threw in the towel, but one was at York Hall, the other's at Wembley, so he's had a taste of those really big occasions, and once you've had a taste for it, John, you just want to be back there. I mean, you might get the odd fighter who thinks that's not for me and they go on a different trajectory, but generally speaking, once you've had a taste of that environment and that level, you just want to be back there. And especially when it comes to stoppages, you feel you haven't really had a chance to show exactly what you can do. So I wouldn't doubt that that's something Taj has got in his mind at this point.
I'm sure he very much wants to have a few more good tussles in the boxing ring before he goes into big tussles in court and other areas of the legal profession.
Be a difficult one to win an argument with in a press conference, wouldn't it? Being a lawyer. No point trying to debate any points with him, I wouldn't think. Good sharp jab from Taj there, though. That's nice work, and feinting with that front foot just to mix things up for Labourn. He has that air of confidence, Taj, I think, though, the way he carries himself, John. And
that was good from Labourn. Right hand, left hand from late range, and then using his footwork to get away.
Just trying to pick him off, Taj, with that jab, and you just feel he's just waiting for the chance just to follow up with that backhand. But as I say, really difficult man to pin down, Labourn, so sometimes he's just having to flick out that single jab just to get in range, and that's all he's managing to do, but does manage to sneak a backhand through there.
I've given both rounds to Taj so far in the third now, and Labourn again just not doing enough.
It's just a constantly moving target, though, isn't he? Really evasive. Difficult to really set anything up, but Taj doing really well. And the key thing is, John, whilst he's doing that, he's busy with that jab, so that's constantly racking up the points, so to speak, and he's hitting the target as well, so doing what he needs to do at this stage.
Minute to go in this third round.
They both at times adopt that Mayweather-esque guard, don't they? Which works for some, not so much for others. Both doing it at times. Just trying to draw them onto a backhand and just trying to trigger something there, Taj, but Labourn not falling for it.
Crowd, I suspect, would like to see a little bit more dramatic action. There's that sort of buzz which you get in a boxing audience when people are having a chat among themselves rather than paying full attention to what's going on in the ring. Last few seconds of the third, and a very quiet round.
And that can happen sometimes as well over 6 rounds. You can have those ones that lack that little bit of spark and intensity. And perhaps the murmuring in the crowd, certainly around us, is that the food's just been brought to the table, so I think...
Does it look any good?
Doesn't look too bad. It's not a school dinner, it's so it looks all right.
Not everybody's dining, I ought to say. This is actually, once upon a time, it was an ice skating rink. Now roller skating. Been here a long time.
You any good at roller skating?
No,
John?
hopeless.
Roller rolling? No, that's not a good alias for you. John the roller skater rolling.
I grew up in this
now.
city, you know, and it's been here a long time. I managed to avoid it. I think Dennis had some formative moments down here. Dennis Hobson.
He's had formative moments all over the city, has Dennis Hobson. We wouldn't have him any other way, would we?
Used to live about 4 doors away from me.
He's going to have a formative moment tomorrow. He's in Germany, isn't he? For the cup final. So his other love, of course, football. So I'm sure he's going to have a great time there, depending on the result, of course.
Well, Spain might light the place up. Let's hope not.
So this is where I'd really like to see Taj try and really step on him when he had him pinned, albeit not fully and momentarily, just to really try and unleash some big shots on Labourn.
There's not been that really from either side so far. Not really gambled to throw the big potentially point scoring and maybe even knockout punches. As you said at the outset though, with the big lads, and these are big men, both standing over 6 foot, sometimes it only takes one.
I feel like there was bigger shots in the opening round. I don't know if you've seen it the same way, but it's almost like a bottle of pop, that when you open it there's that fizz and then it just settles, and this has had that fizz and then just settled a bit. But that can happen over the over the rounds. As we get to 5 and 6, we might see this one
put the top back on
ignite.
And give it a shake.
Exactly, yeah, I might see this ignite a little bit.
Presume you've got all 3 rounds to Taj.
Yes, I have, yeah. I think he's obviously been dominant, taking the centre ring, and he's always pushing Labourn back. And like I said, even though he's not been able to put too many decisive combinations together or land terrifically big shots, he has been consistent with that jab, constantly pumping it out. As we can see there, it's constantly in the face of Labourn as he just wiped his brow there. I think he was a little bit concerned he'd been caught.
Well, you reckon there was one round the back of the head, didn't he, Ryan Labourn?
Oh, is that what he was inferring?
And he was having a little bit of a word
he has
with the
got
referee.
A cut. He has got a cut on his right eye.
Yeah, plenty of blood coming down as well from the right eye of Anees Taj, and they're going to have to go straight to work on that. Need to look at it in that blue corner. That's in the red corner. The damage is in the other side. They're working away on it. And it doesn't look too good, that, Stacey. Probably a good job it's a 6-rounder.
It's in a real nuisance of a place, that, isn't it, John?
Absolutely. And that's going to need a stitch or two after they're finished, I would imagine.
That is going to be really difficult to control, to stem, because they can, if they continue to open up, they just bleed profusely, those, don't they?
Well, I think it was a clash of heads we saw there in that final moment of those replays, and that's what's caused the damage.
He's got 6 minutes to get through, so hopefully it won't open up too much. And he was stopped on a cut at Wembley against Vidal Riley, as I mentioned before, so it's certainly not something he's going to want to happen again, as Labourn, without a doubt, targeting that there, John. He's really looking to
it's
land
unlucky,
on it.
isn't it, when it comes with a head clash. You know, you've got to feel for the guy who winds up with the cut.
It also robs the fans of the the full fight, doesn't it? And although this one has simmered a little bit, it's still enjoyable, and you want to see if it does ignite. We all want to see that. He's definitely trying to be precise and accurate and land that jab on that cut, Labourn, which is of course what any fighter would do.
I can think of a few in previous years that have got in there and tried to stick the nut on him and really make the damage very much worse.
There's all sorts of tactics that people employ as well, aren't there, John, which you've seen, you know, trying to give it a rub with the inside of the glove and things like that. Nice long jab from Taj, just that low lead hand.
Well, he's doing well, isn't he, keeping him at range.
He's been really busy with that jab throughout, sometimes doubled it up.
It's perhaps just made him focus his attentions on what needs doing, you know, box nicely and keep him at range, get your precision right and don't make any silly mistakes to enable the cut to be made worse. Appear to have done a decent job with the damage, though. There's no blood on the face of Anees Taj at the moment.
Yeah, you certainly would have thought that would be a problem in this round, but as you say, yeah, done an excellent job of keeping that at bay for now anyway.
It was kind of below the eyebrow, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and sometimes those can be really nasty.
It's a really odd place, isn't it, because of the skin there. It's very thin, isn't it?
Taj has boxed nicely in this round. Oh, gets caught as he comes in, though, with the left hand. No great power in it, though.
I think this has been a decent performance from Taj, but in this weight division it's really important, isn't it, to have that power. Big punch when you need power. It. Yeah, it really is.
And neither of them have really got it. Here's some of the action from the fifth. Nice boxing from Taj. The left-hand lead was the key.
Dave Allen's just leaned over to tell me he's boxing like Floyd Mayweather. Pretty sure that's what he said.
Yeah. His defence was kind of Mayweather-esque at times, but unfortunately he's not quite landing the precision power shots that Mayweather does. Consequently, at this stage, he's losing as we move into the last round.
It's poised, this, isn't it, for someone just to try and take it by the scruff of the neck, so to speak, and really just step it up and not necessarily take a risk, but just really try and put it on the opponent. That jab from Taj is frequent, and he mixes it up well, and you know, sometimes he lands it really nice and sharp, but when he's up close he doesn't seem to get any real purchase on his shots. They're mostly arm shots, and I would like to see him really try and load up. Whether he doesn't want to take that risk, having been, you know, obviously got to appreciate he's been stopped in the last couple, and mentally that'll be different for everybody, but I would like to see him do it. So difficult to tag,
though, isn't he? I mean, it's all very really well difficult. Saying he'd like to see it, but it's getting to him. I mean, you've got to give credit to Labourn for his defensive work here. He's been very, very difficult to tie down. Mobile, good reactions there again, you see, right on cue. And he's going to go the distance and get a chance to get out there again fairly soon. Bit of blood starting to come again from the eye of Anees Taj.
That was a good shot landed there from Labourn.
Well, he's looking for the left hand into that damaged right eye, isn't he? That's the one he wants to find. Blood trickling down the cheek of Taj now. This is where Taj wants him, but he's got himself tied up.
Yeah, this is it. He ended up smothering his own work or allowing himself to be tied up. But here, right now here, I'd like to see him just really load up. Because he is throwing the shots, but not with any real venom or spite. So I agree with you totally, he's hard to pin down, but he has on a couple of occasions. And when he gets him in those positions, particularly in the corner or up against the ropes, just want to see him really let his hands go.
He's going to get the decision though, surely. Difficult to make much of an argument for Taj to have won enough rounds to be in with, Labourn to have won enough rounds to be in with a chance of winning this.
And again, you know, in fairness, coming off the back of any loss, but a couple where you've been stopped, it is important just to get those under your belt and perhaps approach with a little bit of caution, which, you know, perhaps that's what Taj has done there. It's been a good technical display from him, though.
Well, he's won, that's the main thing. He's ended the losing sequence, surely. A little bit of work going to have to be done to that damaged right eye. Labourn made him think, but Anees Taj, clear winner. And a little bit of an apology maybe about the clash of heads which has caused that damage. But it's one of those things in boxing, it happens.
Where else do you get this eclectic mix of a main course being served, two cruiserweights going at it and Rick Astley playing in the background? Only in boxing.
Penny for the thoughts of Rick. Well, the referee has tallied his card and passed it on to the MC. He'll draw the two fighters together now, or rather the referee will, Michael Alexander. It's going to be a win this for Anees Taj, I'm pretty sure. And here now comes the result.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have a big round of applause for both of our boxers. After 6 rounds of action, we go to our referee, Michael Alexander's scorecard, which reads 60 points to 54 in favour of your winner, Anees Braveheart Taj. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a big round of applause for Ryan Labourn.
So a complete shutout. Taj getting all 6 rounds. Ryan Labourn yet to score his first professional victory. 16 defeats and 2 draws now. Taj picking up his 8th professional victory. He's just too good technically. Labourn difficult to tie down for any real big breathtaking attack, but Taj was able to do enough and take every round, and there was no stage of that fight was he in any real problem. The problem, Ryan Labourn calls himself, the problem was, so far as his performance, although he was defensively slick, he wasn't able to land any sort of real power shots to put Taj under some sort of sustained pressure. Braveheart moving on to his 8th victory. There's the clash of heads. That left Taj with that damaged right eye, which we'll see in a moment or two when Stacey interviews the winner. She's ready now with Anees Taj, and we'll go straight over there now and let's hear the thoughts of the winner. All yours, Stacey.
first of all, how are you doing with that cut? We've just been discussing here that, of course, you've had 2 tough contests with Vidal Riley, a big prospect, obviously, in your weight division. You were stopped on a cut then. How are you feeling with this one? And did you know as soon as it had happened?
As soon as he dropped his head, and I was bringing the uppercut, and the one thing I did was drop mine to bring the uppercut in. I felt it straight away. I saw the blood drop, but the lucky thing is the blood was dropping outside the eye. First thing I shouted to the ref, not in the eye, because I know from the Vidal Riley one, goes in the eye. I was blinded for a round in that one, so I thought, first thing I want to say is I'm good. I don't want it being stopped, so, touch wood, it was good.
It was important tonight to get back to winning ways. Was that in the back of your mind coming into this one? And how has it affected you mentally, having those stoppages and losses?
Not necessarily affected me mentally. Last year I had a lot of stuff on my plate. I lost 2 family members very close to me. My uncle first in January, a couple of weeks before Vidal Riley first fight. I lost my granddad a week after the Vidal Riley rematch. So I had that, the illnesses, the losses on my head, but this year I feel better. I've gotten that out of my system, and now I need to continue my career and get on to where I know I should be, which is titles. Look, I gave Vidal Riley his hardest fight. I don't like being known as the opponent of Vidal Riley. I've got my own career. I think if I play my cards right, there'll be a 3rd fight, and if I'm going the way I'm aiming to go, it'll be a different occasion. But
what did you make of your opponent tonight? I mean, Ryan is really difficult to pin down. He's quite evasive. How did you find it?
Yeah, it's difficult. The one thing I had in my mind was the thing I do, and I know I do, is I look for the knockout. Last fight I won the fight. I know it says I lost it. I had an issue with the referee that day. That's another story. But the one thing I did wrong in that fight was I allowed myself to be too comfortable, not going for the stoppage, 1. 2, waiting too long. So tonight I didn't want to go for a stoppage. If it come, it come. I wanted the rounds. I wanted to know I could do it. I knew Ryan was a hard opponent to pin down. There was times where I got him, but again, throw a shot and he slipped. But it was good enough because I was looking just to get a W and get back boxing.
So what is the plan for you next? Then you said you want to be in, those title fights, maybe a 3rd fight with Riley. What is the plan?
I'm touch wood, hoping, pray to God. Inshallah, I'll be fighting on 17th of August. The cut is now a nuisance. We've got to go back and monitor the cut and see whether it's viable. That fight was supposed to be for the Celtic title. So that was my first step. I need to get a win. So that's done. Supposed to be fighting for the Celtic title. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know. Whether the fight happens itself, I'm not sure. But looking at, if we don't get out in August, we're out in September. And I'm just looking to get in as many fights as I can. I see myself by this time next year getting a title, whether it's a intercontinental of some sort, whether it's an English title, whether it's something along those like a silver Commonwealth. I don't really like the silver Commonwealth, so not really that. But any title.
Like it if you win it.
I've got to fight for it to win it.
Well, listen, we hope the cut gets sorted quickly. We're looking forward to seeing you out, whether it's August or September, and well done for tonight.
Thank you.